On the show in Wheelspin, we drive the soon-to-be-launched Maruti Suzuki S-Cross. On the launch pad, Mercedes-Benz India launches 3 more variants to up the luxury quotient. And Fiat launches the Abarth 595. In Wheelspin, we drive the new upgraded Mahindra Thar. Welcome to a brand new season of Top Speed, and as usual we have lined up really nice and exciting stories for you. But to kick off the season, what we have is this, a brand new car, the S-Cross from market leader Maruti Suzuki. Maruti Suzuki, better known for its smaller compacts, is making another foray into a more premium segment with the introduction of the S-Cross, a car which is bigger and better embellished in terms of fitments and features. And the S-Cross doesn't share its platform with any other Maruti product in India. The S-Cross might be a new car for the Indian market, but keep in mind that the S-Cross has existed in many parts of the world. But where it really makes sense for the Indian market is in its size. At 4.3 meters, she is really compact, which will make it easy to drive and even easier to park. The S-Cross in terms of design is certainly not a car which is going to set your heart on fire, because the design is typically Maruti, conservative, understated, and in spite of the fact that the company has tried to liven up things by adding chrome garnish grills, a large headlamp here, and even chrome surrounds for the fog lamp, it still doesn't make the car really attractive. The strength of the S-Cross is not design. The fact that she has the qualities of a sedan with the practicality of an SUV is what will make the S-Cross so very user-friendly on an everyday basis. Maruti calls this a premium crossover. Whether it's premium or not, we're going to find out. But I like the honesty about the bit crossover, because unlike many other manufacturers, Maruti has been honest enough to call it the crossover and not an SUV. So mind you, this doesn't come with a 4x4 or an all-wheel drive. The S-Cross might not be a full-fledged SUV with a 4x4, but what it does have is sufficient ground clearance of 180 millimeters to enable you to venture somewhat off the road. But of course, for hardcore off-roading, it will fall short. What really impresses me about this car is the quality of materials that they have used. They have really gone up drastically, and it looks fairly premium. Not quite premium, but Maruti is in fact getting there. And in fact, Maruti wants to position this car very differently and create a separate branding for the company, so much so that they have created a different outlet system for selling this car. They call it the NEXA, which will be exclusive in case you decide to buy the S-Cross. The S-Cross, as I said, comes with a host of new features, including a 7-inch display for what Maruti calls the audio-visual navigation, or the avian in short. And it has features like the navigation and connectivity. And what I find is an interesting feature here is the voice command. And Maruti specifies that it will understand Indian English. Now that's interesting, because my question is, what really is Indian English? English sounds quite different in Tamil Nadu from what it sounds in Sarji's Swadhi Delhi. But I leave that you to figure it out. Apart from the TFT display, the S-Cross also comes with rain-sensing wipers, rear parking sensor, push-start button, auto AC, and an adjustable steering wheel for both height and reach to enable you to find the right driving position. Once you slide into the rear seat, the big question here is, does it have enough space? And the answer is, yes, it does, provided you are an average-sized adult. Plenty of knee room here, lots of headroom, adequate shoulder room, and what you also get is an armrest with 2 cup holders, all very well. But my guess is that if you're going to carry 3 passengers on this rear seat, things might get a bit too tight. And what I also would like to see is some kind of contouring and support on the seat, because the seat here is very flat, and that is an attempt to make it more spacious, but on a long ride, obviously supports is what makes your ride a little more comfortable. But the good thing is that these seats come with 60-40 split, which is a good thing in case you want to trade in your passengers and carry more luggage. The engine in this S-Cross is something you might be familiar with, especially the 1.3-litre multi-jet from Fiat. In fact, it will come with two engine options, the 1.6 and the 1.3, and both engines are sourced from Fiat. The 1.6-litre is a new engine, but the 1.3 has been doing duty on many cars like the Desire and the Swift as well. So you're familiar with the engine, and what it does give you is nice fuel efficiency plus plenty of torque. What I drive here today is the 1.6-litre, and you might expect a lot more power output than what it really gives you. It's a very modest 120 brake horsepower that it generates, but what it does well is produce plenty of torque. It's 320 Newton meters of torque, and that's something which makes it very easy to drive this car, especially in city traffic. The torque is ideal for quick getaways from the red light when you are caught up in city traffic, and it gives it a nice, powerful, torquey feel when you initially start driving the car. The 1.6-litre engine here is mated to a 6-speed gearbox, and the gearbox here is imported from Japan. And some of you might think that the 6-speed gearbox is one cog too many, but the fact is that this one cog makes it very fuel efficient. According to ARI certification, this engine will give you over 22 kilometers to a litre, and that's not bad at all for a car this size, a crossover which can haul plenty of luggage as well as 5 people. In terms of drivability, the S-Cross is quite nice. In fact, the driving position is quite high, so it gives you a nice commanding view of the surroundings, and you feel very confident even on the highway. What I really like about the S-Cross is the ride quality. As to be expected, the S-Cross here is tuned more for ride comfort than for out-and-out handling. And if you spend time on the back seat, you're sure to appreciate the nice ride quality of this car. Well, to answer the question that how does this 1.6-litre engine behave? Well, to begin with, there is a bit of turbo lag. When you fire the engine, it doesn't do much till it gets to about 1700 RPM, and that's where the peak torque comes out. And after that, she drives quite well, and the NVH levels have been dealt with nicely. But again, if you really rev it hard, and when it reaches the higher parts of the rev band, it gets loud and a little harsh. But for normal driving, you won't even find that out. Overall, the S-Cross drives quite well, the ride is nice and smooth, and the engine delivers power quite linearly once it gets past the 2000 kilometer RPM mark. But then when you are cruising on the highway, as I am doing around 100 kilometer mark, what you get is a deep humming noise inside the cabin. And that's a little bit distracting, I must say. I think it is because of lack of insulation in some part of the body. Cutting cost? Maybe. On the 1.3-litre engine, what you will get is a standard 5-speed gearbox, and the fuel efficiency of the 1.3-litre will be marginally higher at over 23 kilometers to a litre. So if you are looking for only fuel efficiency and economy, the 1.3-litre should be a choice. But if you want a more spirited performance, then this 1.6-litre with a 6-speed gearbox should do well. And I think the car really balances out performance and fuel efficiency very well, because fuel efficiency of over 22 kilometers to a litre isn't really bad for a car this size. The S-Cross will be a nice addition to the Indian market. Keep in mind that there are other cars in this segment, but being the latest always has its advantages. And the S-Cross here will look fresh. It is reasonably good to drive and comes with a host of features. And keeping in mind that this is a Maruti, you will also get a large service network. And Maruti here is creating an exclusive network called the NEXA to sell the S-Cross. So what you will get in addition to all this is business class privileges. And that should be a nice topping on the S-Cross cake here.
And Maruti, keeping in mind the price sensitivity of the Indian market, has priced the S-Cross aggressively, starting at Rs 8.34 lakh. For the base diesel 1.3 litre model, while the base 1.6 litre starts at Rs 11.99 lakh and goes all the way up to Rs 13.74 lakhs. There will be 4 trims with the 1.3 litre engine, while the 1.6 litre variant will have 3 trims. In order to add more firepower to their already large model lineup, Mercedes-Benz launched their new designer platform cars. The products include the S500 AMG, the S63 AMG Coupe and the range topper SUV, the G63 AMG, in what they call the crazy color. And one look at it and you know they at least got the name right. Not to be left behind, the S63 AMG Coupe and the S500 AMG Coupe will also have headlights which will sport 94 Swarovski crystals. Needless to say, all these will cost big bucks, and the fully customized S500 Coupe will cost Rs 2 crore, while the S63 AMG will be priced at a hopping Rs 2.6 crores, and the G63 Crazy Color Edition at Rs 2.17 crore. Fiat India this week launched the Abarth 595 Competizione, a car which enjoys almost iconic stature as a sporty hatch and sets the pulse racing with its performance. Powered by Fiat's racing arm, the Abarth 595 is based on the Fiat 500, but of course with the addition of a more powerful engine and a sporty trim to ensure that the enthusiastic driver in you takes an instant liking to it. With go-kart-like handling and a small compact size, the Abarth might just be the car you might be looking for to beat the city traffic, as well as have some fun on a racetrack. But unfortunately for Indian drivers, the Abarth will not be cheap.
Ex-Delhi showroom price for the 595 Abarth, acknowledging that the car is a fully built-up unit, is actually 29.85 lakhs.
The Abarth will be imported into India as a fully built-up unit, hence it will be taxed at over 100%, and this reflects in the hefty price tag.
If you're an off-road junkie, then what I have with me today is something that's going to fit the bill perfectly for you. The Thar. Designed as a Jeep, this is one vehicle which is capable of taking you off the beaten path with ease. Armed with a high ground clearance, a 4x4 and a powerful torquey engine, she should be the right companion for you if you ever decide to leave the tarmac. And the good news here is that the Thar just got better. Mahindra upgraded the Thar, and what I have with me today is the brand new Thar.
The Thar was launched in 2010 to answer the needs of many who needed a vehicle to go off the road. Designed in-house by Mahindra & Mahindra, the Thar started out as a basic machine with hardly any creature comforts but with an ability to go off the road. MMM was the first company in India to assemble Jeeps way back in 1947 under license from Wheelies. And the Thar, after so many years, is an attempt to carry the Jeep tradition forward. With its rugged, macho looks, the Thar instantly endears itself to many.
In terms of the cosmetic upgrades, what you see here on the new Thar is quite obvious even at first glance. You get new bumpers here, quite prominent ones, and the bumpers at the rear are also new, plus you get new headlamps, clear lenses here, you get new wheel arches, but in terms of the body panel and the design, it still remains the same. The interiors of the Thar has always been Spartan, keeping to its Jeep-like tradition, but in this new Thar here, you see attempts to refine it a little bit more and to make it a little bit more practical to please the potential customers, the urban yuppies who will eventually own this vehicle. So what you see here is a bit of chrome garnishing around the instrumentation, a new steering wheel, a new gear knob, again with a touch of chrome garnishing, and of course new aircon vents. Plus what you see here are some very practical additions, like 2 bottle holders there and a 12-volt socket to charge your mobile phone, something that will come in handy on a long drive. Plus of course you get new seats with new leather trims on it. Overall, I feel that these upgrades, even if they are minor, have added value to the Thar. And if you're going to use this new Thar, I think you will find it a little more convenient and more practical than the old one.
The current changes are an attempt by Mahindra to position the Thar more as a lifestyle vehicle for users in the urban areas. Hence you see an increase in conveniences like door trims with armrests, a lockable glove box, a 12-volt socket, and a provision for putting in a 2-din sound system. And of course the attempt has been also to up the style quotient. This the company hopes will attract more urban buyers who can have a dual-purpose use for it, which is to drive to work as well as indulge in a bit of adventure over the weekend.
The new Thar also doesn't get a new engine. In fact, the Thar will continue to be sold with both the engines it's currently being sold with, a 2.6 litre direct injection unit and this one a 2.5 litre common rail turbo unit. In fact, this is the engine which is more powerful, churns out 105 brake horsepower as compared to the 63 brake horsepower. But then keep in mind that if you do opt for this engine, you're going to pay about 2 lakhs more. So keep in mind one thing, if you're planning to buy this new Thar with all these upgrades, then you have no choice but to buy this common rail engine unit, because all these changes are made only with this engine. The DI unit gets no changes whatsoever. But in the process, the good thing is that you save about rupees 2 lakhs, because the base DI unit is about 2 lakhs cheaper than this one.
The engine might be the same, but there is a significant change in one area, and that is to make the Thar more adept in handling tricky terrain, because now the new Thar comes with a mechanical rear differential lock, which means that the off-road capability is somewhat enhanced. The differential lock ensures that traction is transferred to another wheel in case of slippage in one wheel, and this in turn improves the grip of the other wheel to help it move. And this we consider is a very important feature for any vehicle which claims to be an effective off-roader.
After a day of mud play, all I can tell you is that this Thar here is not only an enjoyable experience, but also a very efficient off-roader. And what I really like about this is the fact that, like most Jeeps, she sits on a bare-bone structure, which means that if things go wrong, there aren't a whole lot that you can break. And even if you do manage to break it, fixing it would be much cheaper than, say, in an expensive SUV, which again means that you can actually go off-roading with this Thar.
But before you do some serious off-roading, you have to make some changes and modifications to it, like the tires here. These tires you see here are not stock, so you have to fit some extra wide off-road tires. And once you do that, half the job is done. It will cost you additionally rupees 50,000 or so. But driving the Thar is not without its ergonomic challenges. When you move the gears, you find that it fouls up with the handbrake, and the steering is without any adjustments whatsoever. So many drivers might find it difficult to find the right driving position. The bottle holders are placed too forward, so reaching for it might be a risky proposition while driving. And of course, the seats can do with a bit more cushioning, especially if you were to use it for long periods on the highway. But my biggest gripe is with the roof canopy. The problem starts if you have an instant urge to make her go topless, because taking the top off has to be a planned affair. Firstly, you need different size spanners and tools, and then you don't have space to keep the canvas top or the numerous rods that come off. So it's almost impossible to do it in a spur of a moment, and I feel the company should have had a better and more convenient design, especially as it had existed even in the Jeeps of the 40s.
The Thar here is not only an effective off-roader, but actually with all the practicalities thrown in, like air conditioning, power steering, it also makes for a nice vehicle for urban commute, especially with so many of bullies going around in the street who really want to crowd you if you're driving a small sedan. So overall, I think the Thar is quite a practical vehicle. It will take you to office on an everyday basis, plus for the weekend, it can be real fun if you have off-roading in mind. But the only thing that I think might go against the Thar is the price, because the difference of price of over 2 lakhs between the DI and the CRDE models is quite a bit. So the company should think of bringing down the price in some way, and if they do that, I think it will be a very attractive buy for all those who are looking for fun over the weekend.
The price for the new upgraded Thar starts at rupees 8.03 lakhs, ex-showroom Nasik, and the company will sell this model through its dealership in only select markets.